Hello Casketeers, Clive Mantell here, pub snacketeer, quaffer of the beer, and if you want to know about pub snacks, watch this show. Now, we have a bit of a special for you today. Special for me and you because it is my very first review, my first show. Now, I might do maybe one a week, and if you like them, if I get enough likes, then I might do two a week. It depends really because I like to watch telly on Thursdays. That's the day that I was planning to release them about 7 o'clock, but Emmerdale's on. Sometimes I like to watch the Apprentice too. So, okay, anyway, I'm very fond of pub snacks, especially pork scratchings, which is what we're going to be talking about later on. And I want to tell you why I like pub snacks so very much. I like them so very much because they bring people together. And I'm very passionate about people, about friends and family, loved ones generally. And when you get them together over a couple of nice ales and some nice packets of pork scratchings, it's a warm and delightful feeling having all your mates around. It's lovely. Okay, so now I'll tell you why this episode is particularly special, other than the reasons that I gave earlier on, is because it's reviewing something called pork crackling. Yeah, now pork crackling I know is something that you usually have on a Sunday roast or something like that. Or this is basically pork crackling from an actual pig that you get on a Sunday roast in a little bag. And the reason why this is particularly good, because I like pork scratchings that have got a lot of bite to them, a lot of crunch. It can be a little bit hard on the teeth, but we'll talk about that later on. Now, pork scratchings also have a very important meaning to me, and I'm sort of aiming that at someone in particular. Over pork scratchings was how I met my wife, now ex-wife, Valerie. She's not around anymore. She's not dead. She just got off with Ranjit Singh, who owns the off licence. I mean, I liked her because she used to be able to pay for a round and sort of have a few drinks herself. But he owns an off licence. I mean, how can I compete with someone who owns an off licence and she likes to drink? But anyway, I'll tell you how I met Val and her sister Shirley, or Shirley as we call her anyway, is that in a pub one night and there was this great big bowl there of pork scratchings and we all went for the biggest pork scratching there. We just reached over for it. We didn't even know each other, but our hands stroked. Then we sort of made eye contact and, well, the rest is history. We sort of hit it off really. And like I say, she's not around anymore. But if you're watching Val, you can always get in touch. We'll meet for an ale or something like that, and bag of pork scratchings. Anyway, so let me tell you about this particular bag of pork scratchings so far. It's a small bag, white. It's made by Black Country Snacks, and it's called Q Pork Crackling. And on the bottom there, it says, in this wonderfully ornate writing, that is the winner of Pork Idol. We'll find out a bit more about that later on. I'm sure that you'll find that just as interesting as I did. And the Q on there, I'd say, is probably 0.72, which I know because I use Microsoft Word a lot of the time. And so when using Microsoft Word, you get used to the size of all the lettering. And I'd say that the bit beneath it is probably a 36, something like that, Times New Roman. It's in a petrol blue, so it's very catching for the eyes. You can see that on the sort of other side of the bar, quite easily, even if you've had a few. Okay, and so let me just go over the pack with you properly. So it's about 60 grams in weight, so it's sort of nice and easy to grab hold of. I mean, it's got a very good grabbability factor. Sort of, when you're picking up, you're picking it up, and it's not just like picking up air, so that's good. So looking at the back of it here, it's made by Black Country Snacks, who are in Bloxwich, which I believe is in the Midlands somewhere, Walsall, not Warsaw, that's what I thought when I first heard it. Now there's a warning here on the pack which says, only recommended for those people with strong, healthy teeth. Although extra care has been taken to remove bones, some may still remain. Now, this is a very important warning because my dad, he also likes having pork cracklings, ones with a good bit of bite on them. And he cracks one of his molars. Yeah, and you have to pay about £600 to get it fixed. So you've got to be very careful with these things sometimes, you know. And you don't really want to be out paying 600 quid where you can be spending it on ale. Yeah. So, and on here is the best before date, 7th of January 2019. Now, bear in mind, I only bought these like a week ago, so it has a good bit of life left in them. So that's something that we can enjoy. Very high in calories, but that's fine. I think the taste is worth the calories. Okay, so we'll have a sip of the beer to wet the old whistle. Oh, I have to just tell you guys that my friend is here with me as well, holding the camera there. Cole, do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Cole, how do you think it's going?
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah? Do you like pork scratchings?
Oh yeah, of course. You know I love pork scratches.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. I could eat. I shouldn't, but I could eat them every night.
Imagine having them for breakfast.
Oh, my wife wouldn't let me do that.
Imagine if they made like a pork scratching cereal. And
you can pour ale on it.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of milk, pour ale on it. Yeah.
Oh, I'd have that.
Ooh, oh, that would be lovely, that, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay, so and that's also, by the way, how I met Carl. Actually, it was over our love of pub snacks. We met in a Facebook group for lovers of pub snacks, and we sort of hit it off. We met for a few dates, didn't we, Cole?
I wouldn't call them dates, I call them drinks. But it was actually, I think you should tell it was actually my idea to start these videos, wasn't it?
Well, I'll say it's our idea, Cole. I wouldn't think it's just you.
Yeah, but it was me who said, when we was in the pub, like, let's just do a video where we review. Of course, you're always going on about it. You're very eloquent in your appreciation of pub snacks. And I thought, let's let other people know, you know. Well, I mean,
let's just carry on talking about the.
It's your idea as well. I mean,
yeah, it's our idea.
You're the one who does all the talking. I'll be terrible.
Well, you're doing a fair bit now, Colin.
Yeah, but I mean, that was me who suggested it originally.
We'll talk about this later, Colin. Okay. Right, so back to the snacks anyway. We're going to open them up now. We're going to have a lovely taste. And as if by magic, viewers, Q Pork Crackling. Now, let me tell you about how to go through and classify and critique the perfect pork scratching. Okay. Now, for this type, which is pork crackling, which I mentioned earlier on, it's very hard. It can be very big, and often are very difficult to put in your mouth because they are just so big and hard, basically. So, first of all, you've got to have a look at them. Now, my eyes are saying, oh, blimey, that is a big one there. Just look at that. It's got hairs on it at all as well, which is a very good sign for a great big piece of pork crackling because, you know, it's not fake, because you don't know these days, do you? So this one has got a good sort of shell on it of fat. Just give it a bit of a tap to get you know, the idea of fat. Cole, can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
That sounds like a good one, doesn't it, Cole?
Yeah, sounds lovely.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to eat them all, Cole. You jealous, mate?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you want from pork crackling is that you've got to make sure that they're sort of very firm, they're very hard, and it should only get mushy on the bite, okay? But we'll talk about the bite in a bit. And the other thing here, so some of my favourite little bits in this, by the way, are the bits that are really small and salty, because with a beer, they're part of the favourite bits of the pork scratching, okay? So, also, part of the critique, now we've used our eyes, now we've got to use our nose, okay? Oh yeah, that smells very porky. That's a very porky pork scratching that is, and that's what you want from pork scratching, because otherwise it would just be called a scratching, wouldn't it? This one has got a good sort of shell on it of fat, Just give it a bit of a tap to get you know the idea of fat. Cole, can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
That sounds like a good one, doesn't it, Cole?
Yeah, sounds lovely.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to eat them all, Cole. You jealous, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now then, viewers, it's the most important part of the show, really. This is the bit that really counts. Of course, it's all a holistic sort of review where you need to look at everything, but taste is what really matters here. And in the delightful, wonderful world of the pork scratching, taste is paramount. Otherwise, you may as well just eat sand as a snack, which would be stupid. Okay, so, ready, viewers? Here we go. Ooh. Now let me lead you on that taste journey. So when I first put it into my mouth, it was very big, it was quite hard, and it wasn't very easy to chew on, purely actually because of the mass of that particular piece of pork crackling. By my estimates, I would say it probably weighed about 15 grams, which out of a 60-gram bag, it's quite a lot for just one piece. And so biting down in it, yes, it was very hard, and I had to favour my the molars on the left side of my face because they are that little bit stronger. The right side, the right molars there are not as good really. I think they're a bit weaker because I once fell into a lamppost. So the taste there was, firstly there was the salty crust, which was really nice. I enjoyed the salty crust very much. That's the whole point really. They had like a nice sort of tingling. The salty crust made a nice gel with the pork fat, which was absolutely delicious. Now, unlike some other pork scratchings that I've had previously, it had a slight warmth to it. I think there may be like a little bit of black pepper in the mix there. It was very nice. Now the texture, okay, so we've gone from hard, and once we've actually sort of crunched through the hard exterior, we've gone through that soft mushy bit in the middle. That's a bit like the way that my ex-wife used to describe me, as she's been a big hard man on the outside, but once you sort of crack through that shell, you've got that soft mushy bit in the middle. The next thing to do when criticising the pork scratching is think about mouthfeel. And the thing is with mouthfeel is that you have to appreciate how it rolls around the tongue, how it rolls around the mouth. It had depth, it had crunch, it had flavour, and then after a few bites it melted down into a lovable, porky, tasty, fatty treat. Now, it wasn't greasy at all. And that was the other good thing about it, was that it wasn't greasy. Which actually reminds me of Shirley. Shirley is, I should say, because she's not dead, is Val's sister. And again, Shirley and Val, that's where we actually met in the pub as well that night. In fact, all three of us went for the same pork scratching. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier on or not. But Shirley's lovely, yeah. I mean, thing is with Val and Shirley is that they always used to sort of compete as to who would get, the most handsome boyfriend. And I could say this for a fact, certainly that. She said that she always held up a torch for me, which seeing as I do a lot of DIY and electrics around the house would be really handy, But I think at the moment, I don't think I can sort of see anyone right now. My heart's a bit wounded. Not through all the cholesterol, though, eh, Cole? Not through the pork scratchings, eh, mate?
Oh, definitely not.
Okay then, casketeers, just to conclude then. Sorry, I've got a bit of pork scratching in my mouth still. As an overall package, I'll give it a high 8. What would bring it up to a 9 would be something a little bit more interesting about it. Something a little bit, like a little bit of heat perhaps would be nice, like a little bit of chilli. Now, I'd say if you see it out there in the pub or in the supermarket, buy them, because they're not easy to get hold of. I had to buy this pack off eBay, which you can easily find Q Pork Crackling eBay. You'll find them easy. Now, but just to add a little bit of interest to this, by the way, I like my pork scratchings. I like my pork scratchings to be sort of like warm, not warm as in like lukewarm, but like kept in a cupboard or something. Some people quite like cold, like straight from the fridge. How about you, Cole?
Oh, definitely warm. Oh, cold would be disgusting. I couldn't eat that.
Why would anyone want to eat cold? Sorry, like really cold pork scratchings?
Women.
Probably women or
Cold pork. You can't say that.
No, not in this day and age, Cole.
Oh, it's kind of thing. Cold pork scratchings, the kind of thing is like a bird and have them with a Bacardi breezer.
Honestly, if you're going to have something like a Bacardi breezer, which is just like vodka and lemonade, isn't it? Really,
It's all sugar.
It's all sugar and it's bad for you. It's not healthy like pork fat. Pork fat is healthy, isn't it, Carl?
Well, it's an animal, isn't it?
So it's good for you.
It's never done me any harm.
Oh, have a laugh, don't we, Carl? None of yours. Butterfingers. Probably all the grease.